नमस्कार दर्शक मित्रों, स्वागत है आपका हमारी चैनल मेडिक टॉक्स पे। तो आज हम सेरिब्रल कॉर्टेक्स के बारे में पढ़ेंगे। सेरिब्रल कॉर्टेक्स क्या है, उसकी हिस्टोलॉजी क्या है, उसमें कौन कौन से पार्ट्स है, क्या क्या उसके कनेक्शंस है और ये पार्ट्स क्या फंक्शन करते हैं, वो हम आज डिटेल में देखेंगे। हेलो एवरीवन, टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू लर्न सेरिब्रल कॉर्टेक्स। बट वेट, before proceeding, we need to know parts of the brain. As you can see, this is the cerebral cortex, the bigger one. The green one is cerebellum. Now we are moving to parts of the brainstem, which are midbrains, pons and medulla below its spinal cord, pituitary gland, hippocampus, hypothalamus, thalamus, and the band is corpus callosum. So these are all the parts of the brain. Now, the cerebral cortex is also known as pallidum and it consists of two hemispheres. The surface area of the cerebral cortex is 2.2 square meters. Both the cerebral hemispheres are separated by a deep vertical fissure. In middle portion, the fissure extends to corpus callosum. Corpus callosum is the broad band of commissural fibers connecting the two hemispheres. The surface of the cerebral cortex contains sulci and gyri. Sulci means slight depression or groove, gyri means raised ridge. Now we will see the histology. So there are 6 layers. First layer is molecular or plexiform layer. The second layer is external granular layer. Now, the third layer is outer or external pyramidal layer. The fourth layer is internal granular layer. The fifth one is internal pyramidal or ganglionic layer. And the last one or sixth layer is fusiform cell layer. Now we will learn the lobes of the cerebral cortex. So the cerebral cortex is having 4 lobes. This is the frontal lobe, this is parietal lobe, this one is temporal lobe, and this is occipital lobe. Lobes of each hemisphere are demarcated by 4 main fissures and sulci. First, central sulcus or Rolandic fissure between frontal and parietal lobes. Parieto-occipital sulcus between parietal and occipital lobes. Sylvian fissure or lateral sulcus between parietal and temporal lobes, and callosomarginal fissure between temporal and limbic area. Now we will learn the Broadmann areas. So, Broadmann area is a region of cerebral cortex defined on the basis of its cytoarchitecture. Cytoarchitecture means organization of cells. Broadmann areas were originally defined and numbered in 1909 by Corbinian Broadmann. So this is the medial surface of cerebral cortex. Depending upon the laminar organization of neurons in the cortex, these areas were defined. This is the lateral surface of cerebral cortex. Some of these areas were given specific names based on their functions. Now we will learn the frontal lobe. So this is the frontal lobe. Now, the frontal lobe forms 1/3 of the cerebral cortex. It extends from the frontal pole to central sulcus and limited below by the lateral sulcus. Frontal lobe of the cerebral cortex is divided in two parts. Precentral cortex situated posteriorly, prefrontal cortex situated anteriorly. Now precentral cortex, also known as excitomotor cortex, since stimulation of different points in this area causes activity of discrete skeletal muscles. It is divided in three functional areas: primary motor area, premotor area and supplementary motor area. Primary motor area. Primary motor area extends throughout the precentral gyrus and adjoining lip of the central sulcus. Efferent connections. Now primary motor area gives motor connections to these areas: anterior grey horn of opposite side, pontine nuclei, thalamus, subthalamus, red nucleus, corpus striatum, reticular formation and other parts of cerebral cortex. Efferent connections. So primary motor area receives fibers from the dentate nucleus of cerebellum via red nucleus and thalamus. Now functions. Primary motor area contains area 4 and area 4S. Area 4 is the center for movement as it sends all efferent fibers of primary motor area. It activates alpha motor neurons and gamma motor neurons. Activation of alpha motor neurons causes contraction of muscles. Activation of gamma motor neurons causes increase in muscle tone. Localization, that is homunculus. Muscles of various parts of the body are represented in area 4 in an inverted way from medial to lateral surface, like this. Lower part of the body are represented in the medial surface and upper parts of the body are represented in lateral surface. Order of representation from medial to lateral surface are toes, ankle, knee, hip, trunk, shoulder, arm, elbow, wrist, hand fingers and face. Parts of face are not represented in inverted manner. Now, effect of stimulation of area 4. Electrical stimulation of area 4 causes discrete isolated movements in the opposite side of the body. The groups of muscles or single isolated muscle may be activated depending upon the area stimulated. Now, the effect of lesion of area 4. In unilateral lesion, paralysis occurs in contralateral side. Complete paralysis is rare. If both the sides are affected, the effect is more severe. Recovery occurs very slowly. During recovery, upper parts of the body recover first. Now we will learn area 4S. Area 4S is called the suppressor area. It forms a narrow strip anterior to area 4. It scrutinizes and suppresses the extra impulses produced by area 4 and inhibits exaggeration of movements. So this was all about primary motor area. Now we will take premotor area. Premotor area includes area 6, 8, 44 and 45. The premotor area is anterior to primary motor area in the precentral cortex. Now we will see area 6. Area 6 is in the posterior portions of superior, middle and inferior frontal gyri. It is subdivided into 6A and 6B. Functions of area 6. So area 6 has two functions. It is concerned with coordination of movements initiated by the area 4. It helps to make the skilled movements more accurate and more smooth. It is believed to be the cortical center for extrapyramidal system. Now, effect of stimulation of area 6. Stimulation of area 6A causes generalized pattern of movements like rotation of head, eyes and trunk towards the opposite side. Stimulation of 6B produces rhythmic, complex coordinated movements involving the muscles of face, buccal cavity, larynx and pharynx. Now, effect of lesion in area 6. Lesion or removal of area 6 in monkeys leads to loss of skilled movements. It also produces grasping reflexes. Lesions involving area 6 and area 4 produces severe symptoms of hemiplegia and spastic paralysis. So now we will learn area 8, which is known as frontal eye field. It lies anterior to area 6 in precentral cortex. Now functions of area 8. So this is to the right and our eyes are to the left in horizontal plane. Frontal eye field is concerned with conjugate movement of eyeballs. It is also responsible for opening and closing of eyelids, pupillary dilatation and lacrimation. So these are movements in vertical plane, up and down. Effect of stimulation of area 8. Stimulation of this area causes conjugate movement of the eyeballs to the opposite side. Effect of lesion of area 8. Lesion of this area turns the eyes to the affected side. Conjugate movements of the eyes are lost. Pupils and eyelids are not affected. Now the Broca's area. So Broca's area is the motor area for the speech. It is presented in the inferior frontal gyrus. It includes area 44 and 45. Broca's area is present in dominant hemisphere, that is, it is present in left hemisphere of right-handed persons and in right hemisphere of left-handed persons. Function of Broca's area. Broca's area is responsible for movements of tongue, lips and larynx, which are involved in the speech. Speech synthesis. Now, Broca's area receives the information for production of words from Wernicke's area, which is in temporal lobe. Broca's area develops the pattern of motor activities required to verbalize the words by receiving this information. Effect of lesion of Broca's area. Lesion of Broca's area leads to aphasia, which is loss or impairment of speech. Now the third one was supplementary motor area. Supplementary motor area is situated in the medial surface of frontal lobe, rostral to primary motor area. Various motor movements are elicited by electrical stimulation of this area, like raising the contralateral arm, turning the head and eye, and movements of synergistic muscles of trunk and legs. Now, prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal or orbitofrontal cortex is the anterior part of the cerebral cortex. It is in front of areas 8, 44 and 45. Areas presented in prefrontal cortex are 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 23, 24, 29 and 32. Areas 12, 13, 14, 23, 24, 29 and 32 are in medial surface. Areas 9, 10 and 11 are in lateral surface. Functions of prefrontal cortex. It forms the center for higher functions like emotion, learning, memory and social behavior. Short-term memories are registered here. It is the center for planned actions. This area is the seat of intelligence, so it is also called the organ of mind. It is responsible for personality of the individual. Prefrontal cortex is responsible for the various autonomical changes during emotional conditions because of its connections with hypothalamus and brainstem. Applied physiology, frontal lobe syndrome. Injury or ablation of prefrontal cortex leads to a condition called frontal lobe syndrome. The features are emotional instability, lack of concentration and lack of fixing attention. There is lack of initiation and difficulty in planning any course of action. Impairment of recent memory, loss of moral and social sense. There is failure to realize the seriousness of the condition, there are some functional abnormalities: hyperphagia, increased food intake, loss of control over the sphincter of urinary bladder or rectum, disturbance in orientation, slight tremor. तो आज के लेक्चर में इतना ही। नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में हम पैराइटल लोब, टेम्पोरल लोब और ऑक्सीपिटल लोब के बारे में डिटेल में जानेंगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच। लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब अवर यूट्यूब चैनल मेडिक टॉक्स।